think what we often, when we get sort of wound up into this hysterical state about working hours and earnings, we forget that most of our hours are actually outside the workplace. And it's so easy in the modern office or even factory to get stuck in fast forward. You know, you leave the workplace and the work's over, but you're still doing 50 in a school zone, you know, to come home, or you're wolfing down your dinner like you're still on a deadline when you're not. So I think if slowing down at work is difficult, I think where we need to start is at home. You know, trying to find that balance we were talking about earlier, the carving out moments, the making moments to slow down, the unplugging, all of those things. I mean, I've spent a lot of time working with people in, you know, as a journalist, but also sort of, you know, other types of work with people in low income neighborhoods in this country and elsewhere, in England where I live and elsewhere. And you find that often people at that level have, and this is, I don't want to overgeneralize, but I mean, often they actually do have quite a lot of spare time, but they're using it either, maybe they're watching TV and then this is one of the weird things we have nowadays is, again, if you look at how people use their time, in time studies, you know, people are watching whatever it is, or spending 3 or 4 or 5 hours a day in front of a screen and then turning to each other on the sofa when it's 11:30 at night and saying, I wish we had more time. You know, I think often there are changes that we can all make, and they're there for people of every income level. You think of food, people think of slow food as being a luxury for well-heeled epicures. I mean, sure, that some slow foods, I mean, you know, exquisite pig hunted out truffles are never going to be for the mass market. But, you know, you can cook, you can buy a few tomatoes, slice up a bit of garlic, buy some dried pasta and make an amazing homemade pasta to feed 5-6 people for less money than it would cost you to go to Domino's. So I think there are a lot of shifts and changes that people can make at every social and economic level to bring some of that slowness into the equation. Often it just takes, as a first step, I don't know about your life specifically, but sort of stopping. Again, I think I sort of want to stress that again, that we never take the time to stop, really, and I mean really stop and think hard about what we're doing, what our work means to us, what we want to be thinking and looking back on 20 years from now, how we are physically, how our relationships are, looking at all those things and then from there puzzling out what's important and how slowing down can work. You know, we often, I mean, this is one of the ironies of our hyper-accelerated culture, is that we even want to slow down fast. You know, so you get people saying literally get people saying to me, you know what, I read your book and I think it's great, I want to slow down, I want to develop the inner calm of the Dalai Lama, but I want to do it by Friday, you know, or if I can't, you know, this isn't for me, I'll move on to something else. And I think that's obviously to miss the point, because the point is that you really have to stop and you really have to think about what's important to you. And maybe for some people that will mean leaving the job they're doing or going part-time or you know, it depends. Everybody is going to be different. But I think the bottom line from what I'm trying to say is that these slow changes, I think, are there for everyone in one form or another.
So here's our text question from Jesse Kramer in Hermosa Beach here in California. Has there been any research on the biological effects of the practices you are talking about?
Yes, thank you, Jesse, for your question. Yes, very on both sides of the equation. There's been a lot of research, and it's building and mounting every day, into the deleterious and unhealthy effects of being stuck in fast forward, of going too fast. You know, when the human body gets stuck in the fight or flight response, you know, where we're constantly in an adrenaline-rich state, that it wears us out. I mean, that seems pretty clear. And then the flip side is that by slowing down, people relax, the body has time to slip into a calmer mode, to heal, to repair itself. And I mean, any number of studies show that people when they do relax, when they do shift gears, are healthier. And when you're living your life instead of rushing through it, you're also happier. And we know that happiness and feeling at ease with yourself and connected to other people is very good for us at a cellular biological level too. And then, I mean, it's a long list, and we haven't got time to go into all of the biological benefits of slow, but I just want to throw out another one, which is referencing the final blog post I did for the Huffington Post, which is looking at how we think. And it's pretty clear as well that when we're in a relaxed, mellow state, the brain waves move through the brain in more rich and nuanced patterns, and that's when we get that creative eureka breakthrough kind of thinking, the deep, rich, creative thought that is going to be the future of all modern economies and companies and so on. And psychologists describe that as slow thinking. And you, Jesse, I'm sure you know that from your own life, that when you're relaxed, when you're calm, that's when your best ideas come to you. They don't come when you're juggling 9 emails or racing to meet the 2 p.m. deadline. They come when you're soaking in the bath or after a long walk with the dog. It's so there's definitely, this idea of slowing down is not based on flights of fancy and airy fairy Eastern or New Age religions, although those things do fit. There's hard science to back up the fact that putting on the brakes is good for us, and that's why hard-headed people like big companies in corporate America are starting to clue into the fact that it's good for the bottom line for staff to take their full vacation allotment, to rest, to switch off their Blackberries on the weekend, because it's better for their health and it's better for their productivity. It's good for the bottom line. These companies are not allowing their staff, and I'm talking about places like KPMG or Boston Consulting, they're not allowing their staff to slow down because it gives them a warm, fuzzy feeling. They're doing it because it's good for the bottom line. So these things are there. The hard evidence is there that slowing down is good for all of us.
Carl, I can't thank you enough. I already feel the effects of slowing down inside as I've been listening to you. Thank you for your leadership in this field, for your books, for your speeches, for blogging on the Huffington Post. I hope you'll continue doing it as much as you can. And thank you to Amy and Jesse who made this happen, and of course to our friends at Vokle, without whom this would not be happening. And thank you to everyone who is trying to bring these principles of slowing down into their lives and teaching each other as we go along. Thank you all.